I have no shame. Like I don't really. I don't have. I don't get embarrassed. I don't mind being humiliated.
No, I genuinely haven't been following. Um, I believe that I'm there a lot on those YouTube
Yeah,
recordings.
yeah, you're
Um,
one of them.
yeah, and so
They're really not outrageous, though. I get very
um,
confused
yeah,
that they
it's
don't
almost
really
like
seem to be weird. Like
yeah, no, they're not.
it,
They're not really making me out to be a bad person,
no,
which
they're
is
not.
very
And so
encouraging to me.
I don't know how to say this, and I don't mean just you. What I mean is I'm very pattern oriented. I'm an analyst at heart, and I'm really quite good with voices and words. Well, I do words, that's all I do for work. And what I'm fascinated by is I can't discern what it is that is the appeal of the conversations they are extracting. Huh?
Nay, please, I want to hear what you have to say, and we just keep jabbering.
Yeah, I think it's just to humiliate and bully. I don't think it has any other device. I don't think it's informative. I think it's just to mock people and to try and shut them up. Because that's exactly what men do. You know, they do all sorts of things, and that's all it is manipulation. And I think it's disgusting.
Absolutely.
And I have some serious issues with their mental health. This is very childish, but it's very, very manipulative.
Hey,
Very
Nick,
manipulative.
can
And
you?
I actually think half of me is really thinking about asking one of my mates to do a bit of digging in who it is and do something about it. Because he used to write VPNs, so none of their VPNs will work. And I have my suspicions of who it all is and find out who they are, where their location is, what their name is, and all the information that we need on them. Like, absolutely rat them out. I do not like bullying. It's the one thing that I will stand up for and say something about. I hate it. And that to me is just bullying. And it's coercive, kind of manipulative behaviour.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's a
It is.
secretive bullying, though. That's what pisses me off. It's kind of like it's not up front, in your face, everybody can see it. Who the fuck have you got to
But
be to
what
make
is the
that?
object?
We've
It's
got to look
destructive.
at no, but
It's
let's look at
absolutely
what the object is. The
it's
object is to silence women,
it's
technically.
oh God, can I be
'Cause we
careful?
when we look at who's targeted, it's always women.
It's
Um,
also to punish the people they
mhm.
personally don't like. That's perfectly
That,
clear.
and it's very, very clear to me that it is to do with trying to shut women up. And so, whether those people are Lady Lament, I really don't think that that's a woman, um, technically. Or the other listener, I genuinely don't think that's a woman either. Even though women might be involved in helping record those spaces, I find it really, really abhorrent that these people are trying to shut women up. And that seems to be the main goal. Um,
It's
Yeah.
particularly, sorry, it's particularly dangerous for women who've fled domestic violence.
Go ahead, her perspective. That's really hard to say.
Oh no, I can sorry, just think of I can't even say it myself. I said what I had to say. Thanks for adding to it. So Jane was next.
yeah, Jane, go ahead.
Yes, I voiced my opinion on this because I'm trying to. Well, I did. I can't sort of slightly less bothered about it, but my view is this: is that it's destructive, and it has the effect the same as if a TRA person was doing this. Perhaps they're proving a point. If there's a point, then communicate with the individual. If you think they're being X, Y, Z, alpha, beta, whatever it is, say, I don't agree with you. Come forward and say it, really. Have the courage of your conviction. If the individuals or whatever believe they're doing the right thing, then stand by that right thing. etc. Maybe they think they're archiving for good measure and prosperity or whatever it is. But have the courage, have a spine or backbone, because the basic aspect of this, it's just acting like a TRA. I see nothing more at this point of time than anything more than a TRA. It's poor to take people's personally identifiable information and put it somewhere else without their consent. I'm sorry, I still cannot agree. Maybe I can be persuaded for whatever, but I'm still very strongly in that camp. It's quite funny because, by the by, and I'm not going to say where I got this from, somebody actually thought it was might have been me with my views. It's just like, really? That's what they thought. Somebody I speak with less,
That was
etc.
a long time ago.
Well,
Sorry.
That was a long time. That was a
that was
long time ago. I
because
remember
Ollie
that.
was telling
No, it
everyone
happened
you knew.
recently. It happened. It
So,
crossed my ears again very recently, and I thought, you know,
no, Jane, that
I'm
was
a very
because
busy
Ollie.
person.
Oh,
Huh?
sorry, Jane. That's because Ollie was telling everyone it was you. Because he said that to me, and I just went, I don't think so.
Interesting.
Jane wouldn't do that. Was what I
It's
said
just
to Ollie.
thank you, Nay.
You
I
have
wasn't aware of
an
where
interest.
that came from, but it surfaced about,
Yeah,
was it
good from
this week?
Holly.
No, just last. No, about 2.5 weeks ago. Somebody said it in passing. We were having a conversation about lots of detailed things, etc. And I was like, you know what my views are. I'm pretty much, as you see, or my views are anyway. So I was quite astonished. But anyway, it's what it is. So for, who's ever listening and all the rest of it, I can assure you, it isn't, because privacy is important.
No,
People have
I
pasts,
genuinely wouldn't think it
etc.
was you.
Sorry?
I genuinely wouldn't think it was you. And the reason why is because I've heard you speak. I've heard you speak quite a lot. I don't think you would do that to another woman, to be fair. Um, but this is one of the reasons, and I just wanted to clarify this. It's one of the reasons why I'm not offended that you have an event, invited me to your jitsi. It's not, this is not an issue for me. I know a lot of people sort of go, "Oh, you haven't invited me," and "Oh, it's terrible." Um, I'm never offended by anything like that. Ever, never, ever think that anyone who's having a private conversation, don't ever think that I'm offended that I'm not invited. It's not. This is not something that I worry about. It absolutely it just really, really annoys me that more vulnerable women aren't getting an opportunity to speak. Um, People who do care about what people think of them, people who are anonymous, which I'm not. It's very easy to find out who I am. Um, and so I get to not give a fuck. Excuse my language, Jasmine. But this is kind of the point. It's some people don't feel that way.
Well,
And that's kind of the
absolutely,
point.
really. But people should have enough sense of freedoms. At the end of the day, people should feel free. Obviously, even if this wasn't happening, these voyeurism, I refer to it at, even if it was, there would still be some conversations, I guess, I've had in the last month or so that I probably would have taken jiu-jitsu or jitsi, whatever it's called, off because of they were real drill downs and a couple of unpackers, and it's just a small group. They had their own. I was invited, and I've done some other ones kind of since, because it was possibly a far better place. And also speaking about some other strategy ideas and all the rest of it. I'm not going to do it standing at the bus stop or whatever. And it was just sensible. If you're looking at some sort of, I don't know, messaging campaign or whatever it is, it's not it's Twitter or whatever it is not the space for it, etc. But it's poor. It will go on because they clearly have their own reasons or whatever for doing it, whether it's men or women or a mix of the two. It is what it is, etc. And it is a disgrace. So I concur with the group's general view of it, really. But for those who think it's kind of okay, or it's somehow you know, giving some rationale or condoning it, even partly, really. Okay, I'll be persuaded. I'll listen to try to be persuaded, but as such, I'm not.
Is it generally more older women that they're going after, or is that just my imagination?
I don't
Absolutely,
know.
it
I
is.
haven't listened to. I've made the rule of not. I listened to a couple of myself ages ago when it was first brought to attention, and I haven't. I listened to loads of
I
them. I
have
think
to
in
say,
a
I
couple
thought
of days. I listened
it
to
was
lots.
interesting.
There were
I
clearly,
decided not to do.
there were
I
clearly
decided to do the same,
people.
and I don't care. Some people have sent me things. Um, that that's quite interesting that you've chosen to do the same thing as me, which is to ignore, 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 because any narcissist hates to be ignored.
But
Yeah.
to Spikey's question, to individuals, and I think then the first run that I listened to for the first that was brought attention, there appeared, I think, possibly to be some sort of theme to it, really. Maybe individuals that a person had contact with a while ago, etc., before my time returning, etc. There seemed to be a bit of a theme there. And I heard mostly Brit, I'd suggest, voices on that. I hadn't heard outside of Britland about it, so I thought it was, excuse me, I thought it was Britland focused in some way, but that may have evolved over the last month. As I said, I sat there for 2 days and listened to, I don't know, it must have been about 1824.
My idea of who it might be would suggest that they would be anti-Northern Ireland, anti-Scottish, anti-English. So
Nah, forgive me. I think I've listened to all of them at least once, and I think I'll pattern them because that's what I do. I'll set it up, and I'll tell you, definitely individuals are targeted separately by the two. I only know of two. Um, it's the same people over and over, and it doesn't matter where they are. These are Traz or women smirking with mocking people they dislike, and there's a power imbalance on Twitter with them, and so they're getting back. It's like a Mean Girls thing. I definitely perceive that with at least one of them.
If there is a
yeah,
power imbalance, I will absolutely
I think
suggest that there are different things there. And I did have an off jitsu with 3 other individuals, and we focus. We just, what do you call it? What do you call those things? A magnifying glass underneath it, and it is about power. There's more there. I'm not going to go into it because I can't be asked right now. Excuse my French. But there are other
but
things
my
there.
my immediate thought is that it's an Irishman.
Who knows? Who knows? But that's about the size of it. But agree with the general thought. And as I said, for those that condone this in some way, I'm willing to listen to that justification or rationale. How possibly that this might be useful. I'm sorry, I see it as destructive.
Yeah, I see it as destructive, and I can't see any way that anyone's going to justify it. But Lynn, sorry, I'm fairly sure it was you. You had your hand up.
I am going to make myself sound naive and out of it, but I'm not really familiar with the YouTube videos being discussed. But since Jasmine, you've heard them all. If you can forward me some information in a DM about them, and especially if some people think they have figured out, and anyone can DM me, but especially if they think they might have a clue or a guess or figured out what who it might be, I would be interested in that.
No, we are definitely not going to be discussing who we think it is in here. It is not a good
Oh no,
idea, and
exactly, exactly.
I think it's a great idea that I was going to like email. I was going to DM Nay with the 3 people that I'm quite sure at least 2 are involved for her to have her friend start delving into it. It's really not a great idea to speculate. Maybe to give your speculations to somebody who can confirm or deny, who has the skills to determine that.